Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies both new and old with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we, of course, are making this here episode a drinking game.
There he goes.
Anytime we say something negative about a film, each other, anything, life, other humans, other animals, you're going to hear this sound.
Other animals?
Ooh.
And that sound means that we have to take a drink, and we hope you at home drink along with us.
So, pour yourselves a glass, grab your fabric shears, and cut some craft paper. And I'm sorry, I just really pissed off every costume designer in the world. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Do not cut. Do not use your fabric shears to cut craft paper.
They're beautiful shears, though. We'll get to those shears.
Yeah.
Those shears had decades of life in them, for sure. And apparently you grease them up the same way you grease up the Tin Man. I didn't know. All right, people. So we are talking about we're talking about The Outfit. None of you saw this movie over the weekend, but we did.
None of you saw it, Jeff? Did you just say none of you saw this movie?
Yeah, so this movie has made 1.5. This movie made $1.5 million domestically in its opening weekend. It is co-written, and directed by Graham Moore, who won an Academy Award for writing The Imitation Game. Mm-hmm. And since then, doesn't look like he's done much credit-wise, but you never know. He's been writing this and preparing for this, but he's done some other things. But kudos to Graham Moore. It, of course, stars Mark Rylance, perhaps the greatest living English-speaking actor on the planet. But we're going to get into The Outfit. It was also written
by Jonathan McLean as well, who had
that's right.
He has 2 writing credits, but he's mostly an actor. Yeah, so I feel like we should throw them both in there.
Let's throw them both in. Well, Graham Moore is American. And Johnny McClane is also American?
I don't know.
I don't know. Does it matter? It was
no. He was on Mad Men for a minute.
Yeah, I knew he was on Mad Men for a little bit. I don't know.
All right. We're going to get into The Outfit, people. I think it was a really, really interesting single location, one night. Probably would have done great as a play, but they made it into a movie, and that's their right. And so
this would have done great as a play, to be honest. Yeah.
Honestly, this is an unbelievable play. It's a small cast but the thing is, in one location.
It still might.
I mean, based on if they want to make their money back, they might have to turn it into a play. Dave, you said we're going to talk more about The Outfit. We'll try to keep it spoiler free because it's a little bit of like a mob whodunit. If you've seen the trailer, which again, you probably haven't, but this is a really cool movie. So I hope that if you haven't seen it yet, you will consider seeing it. But if you're new to the podcast, we're going to try to keep it spoiler free for about 10 minutes or so that you can get our initial takeaways, what we thought, what we felt of the film, so that way we can recommend it to you not.
Which is about our average listen time, so maybe we should stop spoiling this shit.
All right, Dave, do you have any business before we get into it or what?
Dude, I just want to say, Spider-Man No Way Home dropped this week.
Why is Spider-Man? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it dropped this week.
Why is Spider-Man in our speech?
On digital early.
Find a way to bring Spider-Man into these episodes.
There's a point to this. The point to this. Fuck you guys. It dropped this week because they dropped it a week early because someone leaked a DVD rip online. And on a certain social media platform known as Twitter, which I'm forever going to refer to now as Bitter, they have been bagging the shit out of at least one visual effects shot in the movie and saying it ruined the whole film.
In like a crappy early release version? Or?
No, in the final film version. And it's something that there's a scene where he's swinging through the city and he drops down into a manhole behind one of the other characters in the film. And it is if you pause it right at that moment, it's a really dodgy composite. If you pause it. Now, I'm sorry, have these guys ever fucking worked in visual effects? We rely on you not pressing pause. Don't press pause on the fucking visual effects. Okay?
It reminds me of when
you get what you get if you push pause on a fucking visual effects shot.
It reminds me when George Lucas made the first A New Hope, the first Star Wars film. They had so little money to build the sets that most of it was built out of this very strange thin plastic inside any spaceship. And he kind of had a rule: don't hang on any shot for more than 3, maximum 5 seconds, because as long as you stood still, you would be able to tell it looked like crap. But now, of course, everybody, you can press pause. They were just making movies in a different time.
And
I cannot imagine the stress of being a VR effects artist today. Because knowing these fucking trolls are going to press pause.
If you push pause and sit there for about 2 minutes, you can figure out that, yes, the guy is in a different location to the background. Great, you've done well.
He didn't actually jump into the manhole.
If that's ruined the whole film for you, you're a fucking idiot.
But all these motherfuckers have like Spider-Man pajamas. They're all like grown men with like
Bill Spider-Man.
Bill Spider-Man.
Bill Spider-Man.
They have they're obsessed with that movie, and they're just making noise.
What are you talking about, film better? Like honestly, like it's visual effects. Like, do you have any idea how much work went into all of those shots?
No, I kind
of want to go down the list of everyone who's commented and just kind of look up what films they've made.
Well, let's not play that game. Of course, they fucking One of my favorite I've said this to you guys before. One of my favorite things about doing the film stuff, what we do, is that we work for years on these projects, so that somebody can be like, "Nah, I didn't like it." Like just like very casually, like spend an hour and a half watching it, just be like, I don't care. Yeah, it sucked. Like it doesn't matter. They don't. So I love that. I think it's hilarious.
I'd just like to really apologize to the directors and producers of Stay Hungry. No, I can't back that up. Fuck you guys.
No, you can't fucking do it. Well, hopefully this will tie us back in. Hopefully this will tie us back into the only special effects shot in this movie. Maybe there is there's an ending that involves some special effects. Maybe we'll bring this back and see if that landed for you visually. Yeah.
The outfit, that is.
What movie are we talking about?
We're back to the outfit.
Are we talking about the outfit?
We're talking about the outfit.
We hit our Spider-Man quota. The only thing else we have to hit, the only
Spider-Man
other quota
in the outfit. Spider-Man.
We have to hit our Matt and Mark quota. So there you go, Matt and Mark. You've been nodded, and we have to hit our. We have to mention Queensland, Australia, because the algorithm is sending us all Queensland listeners.
Let's mention Hawaii as well, because we have not turned up any listeners in Hawaii yet. We haven't made it to the islands.
Come on,
we love Hawaii.
I lived there for a little bit. Come on, where are my islanders?
John lived in a
we're talking about movies.
Yeah,
we're talking about movies that won't come out there for a year. Come on, guys.
All right, people, we're talking about The Outfit. This, of course, is the new Graham Moore film starring Mark Rylance, Zoey Deutch.
Of course it is. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows that. Trailer's fun, guys.
$1.5 million.
Watch the trailer to this. It's a really fun movie. Old is still our most listened to episode, so for all we know, this is going to be number 2.
I was very wary about this one. I can tell you that. Like when we
were you really?
Like, yeah, I looked at it and I was like, no. But
you thought Deep Waters was the one we should have watched. No, we should have watched the 2.5-hour Ben Affleck moping about his wife sleeping with other men.
Let's face it. This week it was a toss-up between Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas and Mark Rylance in a film I knew nothing about, and I chose Mark Rylance.
Dave, we got to talk about your reticence. Guys, I listened to your Coda episode recently. You were so convinced you were going to hate that movie, dude. What is it about these blurbs? They're making you scared. Let's read the blurb to The Outfit and see what's so terrifying about The Outfit.
Oh, yeah, I forgot we do the plot. I forgot we do this. So, The Outfit on IMDb. The plot. An expert tailor must outwit a dangerous group of mobsters in order to survive a fateful night.
Now, Dave, I could see that.
I wish they sold it differently. Yeah. I wish they sold it like the trailer did, which is
they could not have sold it any differently.
An expert tailor has the mob show up at night, and he has to protect his business while the mob is operating.
No, they could not have sold it any differently. Like, okay, so Jeff, what do you think of this?
I really liked it. I really liked this movie. I had a great time at the theater. I thought it was fantastic. And I'm going to say this right now, and maybe other movie podcasts wouldn't do this, but if this came out in the 70s, all we would be doing, because nobody talked about, why is John laughing so hard? What is going on?
I think I'm going to agree with you. I think I know what you're about to say.
If this came out in the 70s, nobody talked about the director, the cinematography, the story. All they cared about was the acting and the story. So yeah, they do care about the story, but not like the script. Yeah. Mark Rylance is so fucking good.
He's the work personified.
the detail he gives, every single frame of this movie, if he is not in it, you know exactly where he is in relation to that character, both physically and emotionally. And every time he makes a subtle little adjustment, everything changes. This whole thing should feel claustrophobic because it's in one location with two rooms the entire time. But it's like he's a fucking boxer in a boxing ring. He works every single inch of that fucking set, of the emotional content of this. He is an absolute master, but because it's like an understated performance, and because, you know, we've seen a lot of mob movies and stuff, that's probably not going to be the takeaway from this. But seriously, just be
80% understated.
Be his subject, because he takes you on this ride that, again, if it came out in the 70s, we would have left this theater going like, oh, Pacino, Dustin Hoffman, and we're not doing that with this, but we should. Like, Mark Rylance is the best. He's the best in the world. That's it. So for no other reason than the fact that Mark Rylance is the best actor alive, go see this fucking movie and then let it whip you away. I thought it was great. Yes, gush me, man, fucking gush me. He's a national treasure. He moved to London when he was young, but he's ours.
He is ours, isn't he? That's a true story.
It's like when we claimed Russell Crowe up until the point he started throwing phones.
He was yeah, oh my gosh, sorry. But
all the noises.
He moved to London. Maybe he moved back. Whatever, he's fucking ours, man. Mark Rylance is ours, even though he lived in London for the majority of his life.
Him and Stanley Kubrick, they are the mistaken Englishmen that are actually Americans.
All right. Dave, you're coming in hot today. John, what do you think of this movie?
I think I agree, man. I know I agree. I think the caveat is I didn't know anything about this movie, so I didn't see the trailer. I've heard people talk about the trailer was differently, presented with a little bit more stakes and stuff. I think my friend who mentioned that to me said, I wish that they wouldn't have presented it that way, and I think I would have been more prepared for what it actually was, but they still enjoyed it too. But if you are looking for a stylized whodunit in a single location with just some really excellent acting, and you just want to go back and live in that period in Chicago, I mean, this is the ticket. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know we were going to stay in that place of business the entire time. It is like a play in the sense that
Jesus.
You hear my dog?
Whoa. John has intruders.
Lily.
The mob's turned up at John's house.
Jesus, yeah. I need to get my shears. The entire time I was just thinking like this feels, I just don't know if I've ever seen a movie like that. And in the sense that it's not like a play. It is a play. Like it is. And they didn't film it in proscenium style. They made use of this location. The acting was so good across the board. And it's not rip your heart out drama, yelling, screaming. Everybody is just kind of presenting new information to each other.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Yeah, there are several times where like you have to be so on board with the style that there are, just like a page turning Agatha Christie whodunit, somebody is going to say actually about 5 times in this movie. There's going to be a new piece of information. No, actually this happened. And as long as you just have you got to get that smirk ready. Just get ready to go and smile along with it, and you're just going to be in the hands of some really good actors, a competent filmmaker. I don't know. It's I enjoyed myself.
That's 2.
I had fun. And I also say this, and I know you guys will be shocked, but it was refreshing. I can't remember. I'm busy right now. I'm mostly seeing the movies that we see for the pod, and we tend to go for the big popular movies so we can talk about something that people are seeing. I had a really nice time going to a theater and seeing a movie that wasn't in that kind of world. It was nice seeing the $1.5 million grossing movie that, needs adults to get into the theater and actually go see it. Families aren't going to see this. So I'm glad we chose this one this week.
Oh, trust me, adults were in my theater.
Me too. My entire theater stayed for the end credits. It was like probably 40 people.
Same. Did your lights not come on? I didn't know if they fucked up or not.
No, the lights don't come. The lights don't come up until the credit roll starts. That's just by design.
Really sexy, very traditional score for Mr. Alexander Desplat. Well done. Yeah. Right in the pocket.
I was surprised when I saw that. I was like, Alex, yeah, good. Yeah. He was snubbed at the Oscars this year for The French Dispatch. Dave.
Not his first time. Yeah.
He has to.
Dude, I mean, I saw that Mark Rylance was in this. I'm a fan of Mark Rylance from several different performances. Don't Look Up.
Sure.
Ready Player One.
Oh my God, dude.
I hadn't seen like anything else he'd done really, but I loved him from those two. So I was like, and I've heard he's a fantastic character actor. So I was like, he's doing this. It looks like a really good performance. I'm going to turn up and I'm going to watch this. And I feel like we should talk about it. And there were about 40 people in my screening. I think they were mostly over 50s. And
honestly, that's a pretty good number.
Yeah, 40, 50 people. They were like mostly over 50s. And like, obviously people who had a movie podcast were there.
I had to pay for their own movie, but yeah.
But I sat there and he started talking at the beginning about making a suit. And it's a voiceover, and we're showing fabric being cut, and I'm like, this take me back to my college days where I studied like fucking costume design. Because when I first studied theater, like we had to do 6 months of costume design, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, I was the only student to crash an overlocker. It left the fucking table, man. It was epic. But like,
no idea.
Yeah,
I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, I did. What?
That's for not sharing your delicious past with us, Dave. We lived with you for years. We never knew you designed costumes.
We never knew you smashed an overlocker.
Well, I didn't actually do costume design, but I did definitely cut up some costumes and stuff. That's why I knew that cool, the cutting craft paper with shears joke was so offensive. But apart from that, I was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, is this all this movie is? Like, it's going to be a lot of talking and then boom, you were in.
Pretty quick, right?
It just grabs you, and then it grabs you, and then it fucking grabs you, and it just does not fucking let you go for the entire time. And it was, hands down, one of the most interesting things I have seen in recent history. I would like, the best review I can give this film was the gasps of delight from me and other people around me as the story twisted and turned towards its conclusion. Like, there were audible gasps in the audience when, like, because this thing does twist a few times, and there's audible gasps in the audience when it happens. And you could hear the pleasure in them. It was like, you fucking surprised me. And they surprised me. They surprised them. They surprised everyone. It was beautiful.
I can't wait to get into the last part of our conversation with spoilers, so I can clarify which moment you're talking about.
No,
there are two that are kick-ass.
No, there were two that were kick-ass, but it was happening almost the whole way through the movie. It was just piece by piece by piece they revealed it, and it was with such fucking craft that it was done. And I feel like Rylance was part of that. That's kind of what like the director was part of that. It was like, this deserves way more credit than it's getting. I'm just
as always.
Okay, that's 3 for 3. 3 for 3.
Look, you got to ask yourself. Look, maybe they're family friends and we just don't fucking know. But you got to ask yourself, why would one of the greatest actors around, who could probably do a lot of really interesting projects, commit to something like this? I think
because I think you get turned on with a first-time director.
With a first-time director, I think you get turned on by something like this because you know the challenge is, Dave, you said it, craft. You're in a single location. You have a tight script. It's all up to craft. If we don't execute this well, we're not going to be saved by spectacle or music. It has nothing to do with that. It is just us telling a story really efficiently in this single location.
Yeah,
can we do it?
Mark Rylance was like, Rylance was like 150 out of 10. But everyone else was also best on ground. Like, every single person in this is amazing.
Dude, let's give it up since we're talking performances. Johnny fucking Flynn, right?
Johnny Flynn,
as Francis. Holy shit, guys!
Awesome.
I feel like, you know how a lot of people, you feel nowadays, just because we don't talk like this anymore. There was a time when they, like back in the 30s and 40s in the Warner Brothers gangster films, like people talked like that. And now we feel like we're kind of doing impressions when we talk like that, which we kind of are. We don't talk with that continental kind of accent dialect anymore. He fucking had me. I felt like I was watching some of the best moments of Boardwalk Empire. I felt like we were just watching someone in that time period behave. And it was just so refreshing. That's what blew me away the most, I think, was that Mark Rylance didn't cast a shadow over everyone. Which, you know, he wouldn't like for us to assume that. He's a real thespian. I'm sure he built up everyone around him. But
he's a very generous
everybody
performer.
was good, dude.
You know what blew me away the most? Is when I walked out of this, the first thought I had was the negative effect of superhero films is that it can make both filmmakers and audiences forget that these small-scale contained films can be very fucking entertaining.
Yeah. Dave, I'm so happy you fucking said that, dude, because like you're the. I think this is the. Not that. I mean, we all love those films too. It's just we do forget. Like I said it too. Like I just haven't seen a lot of movies like this recently. It was so refreshing to go see something like this. I want the other things too, but this has got to be part of the diet.
20 minutes in, I was like, oh shit, I need to pee, and I didn't.
Actually, that happened to me too.
Hour and a half. Like
I saw an early movie. I had a lot of coffee beforehand, and I was like, "Fuck, why did I drink so much coffee?"
I need to pee, and it was
that was
gone.
me and the Batman, dude. And halfway through the Batman, I was like,
everyone. That was Everett in the Batman.
I didn't have a drink. I didn't have water with lunch when I saw the Batman.
I went legs crossed. I had a knot tied in the fucking hole, fella. It was like, it was Jesus.
The last thing I'll say about Mark Rylance before we send people away is I saw him in 12th Night, and part of the reason he really is the best is not because he does the Daniel Day-Lewis, he's in every frame, that kind of thing. It's because he's so generous that it's like everybody else is better by being around him. And I love
those performers.
It's his pure generosity makes him better. It's almost like he's trying so hard to not stand out that you can't help but notice how amazing he is not standing out.
It's also, it's also the thing, like that's the thing with like when I was learning comedy, the thing that the guy who was directing the show taught me was you don't have to be the funniest person on stage. Sometimes you have to take a step back for someone else to be the funniest person on stage and you're the butt of the joke. And he is the person who is quite capable of being there while someone else has their moment and contributing to that moment. And then he takes his moment. And when he takes his moment, he clearly
cares way more about the story.
Everything. He cares about the entire product. As opposed
that's why it was so exciting to
his performance.
We're sitting here on Mark for just a moment. I'll get out of the weeds after I say this, but that's why it was so exciting that his debut to most of the world who didn't know him from theater was Bridge of Spies with another very generous actor, Mr. Tom Hanks, another national treasure. It was so cool watching these Tom Hanks. Yeah, it was so cool watching. Yeah, who the fuck are you talking about? You know that they come from the same place of like, how do we make this as good as fucking possible? Not for us, just for the audience, like for everyone around us. So, I mean, just to see the choices that Mark Rylance, who probably has gotten a lot of offers since coming to film, just to see the choices he's making, we would probably, maybe not probably, but there's a good chance we would not have seen this movie or it would never have gotten made without what we're talking about. Because Mark Rylance is why this movie got made.
Well, also, it's like you get once in a while you get these performers, and like you just quoted two of them, or cited two of them, but they're not just actors; they're storytellers.
Yeah.
So they contribute to the story that's being told with like their own story that they bring to the product, and that's what elevates someone into the fucking greats, man.
Jeff, tell me if I'm wrong. I think you'll remember exactly what he said, but in his Bridge of Spies Academy Award acceptance speech for supporting actor, just to clarify, folks, he won the Best Academy Award for supporting actor the first film he ever made. No, he already had a huge career behind him. In his acceptance speech,
the first like feature film, because he made some other like really teeny tiny things.
Okay, I didn't realize that. He basically was like, he just acknowledged how
then it does matter.
He was acknowledging how wonderful it felt being a part of this giant family of craftsmen and women that Steven Spielberg,
of every craft,
hires and brings around. He was like thousands of people that work on all these movies, and Steven has this huge workforce, and just to be in it, just to witness it, was just so inspirational. Like that's who he fucking is. He just wanted to be there and help make it good, just like everybody else that was trying to do that. So thank you, Mark, for lending your time and talent to this humble project.
Oh my God, everyone who hears this, get hold of this film straight away, because it's is something to see. And big screen, small screen, I don't think this matters in this case. Like, although it was great to sit there looking up, because it was like, this didn't get a Dolby Cinema screening. This didn't get an IMAX screening. Of course not. I was sitting in one of the little like AMC theaters looking up at the screen traditionally, and I feel like that's what this was kind of designed for, but I feel like it would have the same effect.
Go out and support your local theater if you don't want to go to one of the big ones. Guys, this might be my favorite poster of the year, too. Have you guys checked out the poster? I fucking love it.
It's on our graphics, dude. It's on the start of this episode.
So
Rewind,
good, dude. What a clean. I love it. It's so simple, but it's so effective.
With the shears and then the gun going
and
each
the
way
shadow.
And the mark yeah, it's cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, there's more to say. He's a tailor. He's not like he's not sitting there just like act. He's not reading Shakespeare.
He's not a tailor. He's a cutter.
Okay.
Thank you. I was just about to call you out, Jeff. Yeah, I was like, God damn it, you made me.
He's a craftsman, people. The character is a craftsman. It's not just Mark Rylance showcasing acting skills. Anyway,
But even then, you get to like the cinematographer, Dick Pope, who has 94 cinematographer credits. So you know you're in good hands here. Like everything was shot on dolly. So the camera, like the camera movement was motivated by the action. So it was all smooth and like almost enhanced like sometimes it was like really fluid and helped with like accentuate the ominous tone they were going for sometimes. The other really interesting thing was I found out today this was shot in sequential order.
Nice. Yeah, I was just about to say none of us know. We tried to look up some trivia about this film, but I have very little doubt in my mind that they table read the hell out of this.
Yeah.
They rehearsed the hell out of it. Dick Pope was a part of the rehearsals.
So it was shot like a play.
On the floor. Yeah, I'm sure they knew exactly what they were going to do only after weeks and weeks of building it together. And it feels like that. It doesn't feel like I fucking love West Side Story. And there was a lot of rehearsal that went into that. But some of those things are just so large that, you have to do a lot of pre-planning and you have to imagine when we're actually there on the day, let's do as much planning as we can because we can't go rehearse in the middle of that street or in the middle of that lot in New York City.
I mean,
this is not that case. And it felt alive. It felt like they perfected it.
And it was,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. To stage something of this level in 2 rooms is fucking amazing.
2 rooms.
2 rooms. Two and a half.
And we haven't said to you guys, but like, how bad did you want to wear a nice suit after you walked out of there? I got to get a suit.
I considered going and buying new clothes. I was like, I'm wearing T-shirts all the time. I got to dress up.
Actually, you know what I thought when he was making the custom suit?
I'm not even kidding. That really happened.
You know what I thought? I thought, man, The Rock has it so good because I heard that all of his suits are custom made. I was like, man, I wish I was The Rock to get these custom made suits all the time because he would find this cutter and he would go, I want 3 suits from you. Just make them whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. You're so good. I was like, man, it would be so good to have that kind of money and influence to just like have suits.
Those Englishmen too, they still wear them nice, dude. Mark comes from that town, dude. There's this great episode of Joe Rogan. Sorry, I said it. There was a great episode with him and Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie spends like 20 minutes convincing Joe that he's got to get a good suit. And like, I mean, everything, the culture's right, dude. You see a movie like this and you're like, oh yeah, they know how to fucking do it. Anyway, let's do it, you guys. Let's get into spoilers. Not that we're going to really ruin anything, but
yeah,
there are some stuff that's going to be fun to talk about.
That's the thing. Like, if you come in blind to this, you're going to be like, what am I watching for about the first 10, 15 minutes? And after that, it's gotcha. It is totally fucking gotcha, and you're in. So, if you don't if you want to experience this movie as best you can, by all means, go and see it right now.
See it. Zoey Deutch, Dylan O'Brien, Simon Russell Beale, Shakespearean actors, incredible. Nikki Amaka Bird. Yeah, it's great stuff. Anyway, go see it, people. We're going to go ahead and start spoiling this movie. So if you're mowing the lawn, Dad, just pause it for 1 second. You got to turn the mower off.
Pause the thing. Keep mowing the lawn because...
You can just stop the mower for a second to push pause. So... spoiler territory. We'll spoil it slow. We're not going to do what John did during Bond's No Time to Die. We're going to spoil it slow.
So, can we talk about it?
Yeah.
Let's spoil Bond again for them.
No.
Bond died.
Let's slowly get into this one. All right, because if for whatever reason you're still listening, it's a whodunit. There's a whodunit. You want to know?
It's absolutely a whodunit, and it builds.
There's mob. There's probably a rat. I'm assuming we're going to meet the rat at some point in this movie, revealed, so you don't want to be spoiled.
It's slowly revealed piece by piece, which is great. This is the style of story I've not seen for years.
All right, guys, I'm going to say it because, Jeff, did you want to preface something?
No, I'm just going to keep saying spoiler, because I was about to say, like, I thought the rat was blank, and I don't want to do that quite yet, but we have to get
that.
Well, we should probably do that because I'll start this, and then you can clarify, because I'm sure we're going in the same place. This movie is very much like Alfred Hitchcock's Rope.
Absolutely.
In a lot of ways.
Absolutely like Rope.
I couldn't stop thinking about Rope, and I'm so glad that Dick Pope...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad they chose not to try to just literally echo it, because so much of it is based on a very similar premise and style.
Absolutely.
And it didn't bother me at all. It was refreshing. It is a whodunit, but it is also a very intentional suspense film.
Well, it's a whodunit, but Jeff, it's also a he-done-it. but who done it?
So Jeff,
For
say what you're
something
about to
else.
say, because I think you were going in that direction that will give away the first big chunk.
I assumed pretty early on that Mark Rylance knew it was. I assumed that it was either him or Zoey Deutch's character Mabel. I just assumed that it was one of those two. But as soon as Johnny Flynn and Dylan O'Brien, and of course in hindsight, I don't even know how much Mark set that in motion. Which again, it's just the fucking details of this fucking guy. But as soon as the two of them started fighting, I kind of was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. We'll find out at some point. Let me just forget about Mark and Zoey Deutch. I got to figure out what's going on with these two people because I kind of want one of those two to be the rats, even though they're probably not.
All of
just
a sudden,
like them going at each other.
All of a sudden, these guys are suspicious of each other. It's
So
like it throws your perspective right off.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, the odds of one of those two being the rat is probably low, but at the same time, I was just so captivated by the story that I let myself just like imagine that they were the rats while that tension was happening. Knowing that it was going to come back.
Except the boss was a fucking suspect.
Exactly. John, what were you going to say back to what your thing was?
I was just going to admit that at some point, the reason we were comparing it to Rope is because fairly early on, the first like really intense inciting incident is there's a death. Yeah. And the death is covered up and the body is hidden in the location that they filmed
so
in.
Good.
In a
it's
trunk.
so good.
In
a trunk, just like Rope.
Just like Rope.
They kind of dance around it. It creates a lot of suspense, but it's a good example of how, unlike Rope, where the gimmick of Rope, and I'm not trying to gimmick with a capital G, he does a really great job of it, but this doesn't become a gimmick because it doesn't stay focused on will they figure out there's a dead body in there. It turns into much more of the mystery of what happened to the person, but also everybody trying to figure out who is actually the rat, which they don't think the rat killed somebody. Yeah. It's two different problems.
It's like, that's why you've got a rat, and when will they find out who killed this guy? And the total misdirect of the dripping blood, which is an absolute misdirect that doesn't result in anything.
Yeah, but it's so good.
Can we give it up,
Mark,
guys?
Every time Mark just like slowly, he's very slouchy in this because he's pretending like he doesn't know anything. Every time he just like slowly looks over at the fucking trunk,
his eyes, dude.
It was so good.
Fucking Snake. I know he's so good, dude. We'll get.
There were one or two times where I did think, given what we reviewed recently, was why wasn't he Alfred?
Because he probably said no. He probably was like, no. Nah. He's like, I'm not doing it just to be in this thing.
He's like, badass.
I'm not just trying to be in the club, people.
Yeah.
Let's give it up for the filmmaking. It was so simple. It was just such a cool choice. The way Johnny Flynn just sidesteps the gunshot and just fires two off like real. It was so so powerful. It just looked so seamless. Yeah. It was such a simple choice, very easy to film, but it moment
worked. There was no mirroring of disbelief here. Like it was.
Yeah.
Everything
and the
was
mirroring at the end, though. The mirroring at the end, it's like sort of the reverse of that. It's cool.
Yeah. When they bring back, so at some point, you think it's going to be basically about maybe a hostage situation. After the death happens, you feel like the person they're with, the killer, I don't think we don't need to give away that totally, but the killer is still in the room and they're trying to figure out how is this going to go down. And what I loved about this script was that unlike some plays in theater that kind of feel like once you're trapped in the room with a killer, you can't leave. They kept taking people in and out of the rooms, which was really refreshing.
Yeah.
And it was I kept thinking how are they going to solve that problem as writers
I was
to
the same.
get them
I was like,
coming back?
It was like, how the fuck are they getting out of this one? It's like, because we've just got out of it. And okay, cool, we got out of that situation, and someone else fucking rocks up, and you like the whole situation pivots on a dime, and you're like, how the fuck are they going to get out of this now? And it just keeps escalating and escalating, and the lies get bigger and bigger, and you're just waiting for the house of cards to fall down.
What did you think of? Because I don't think I've seen him work very much. The man who played the boss.
Simon Russell Beale. He's been around forever. He's a Shakespearean actor from England. Like
I love that guy.
Royal Shakespeare Company and stuff.
He bought both Ominous and Heartfelt. To me,
I like that they cast a shorter man. He's not a small man. But I thought it was interesting that he wasn't like this. It wasn't Tony Soprano walking in with tons of fear. Like that guy could eat this place and fucking break everyone in half.
Yeah, this was a guy who loved.
And I like that they. Maybe it's cliche, But I do like that they gave us some backstory, and I thought he carried the behavior off well too. That this is a very cultured man who values intelligence and the finer things, and that's why his relationship with the tailor, Mark Rylance, was so strong. Was that it wasn't just he was going around the neighborhood getting people to do favors, Godfather style. I think he actually was invested in the finest tailor in Chicago. He wanted to be a part of building up that person. So it gave him this refinement, which whenever you pull this off in mob movies with Godfathers, it always works to me. When the refinement turns very casually, when they just very casually say, get her to talk, and they take Zoey Deutch in the back and they're about to fucking torture her basically to get her to start saying something. And he just very comfortably and casually says that. You don't want to be here, just stay in the other room. You're just reminded like, ew. I don't know. There was just this wonderful little gross aspect.
You made me like this guy, and then he does this, and you're so conflicted in your feelings. Yeah.
He didn't put on the mom persona. He just accepted
levels,
the fact that he's like a bigger guy. He's got a presence. Like he just doesn't have to push or anything like that. I forgot he was Falstaff in the Hollow Crown TV series from 2000. Did you ever watch that kind of like nerdy Shakespeare thing? It's like all of the Henry stuff. So it's 2 Henry IVs, Henry V, and he plays Falstaff. Wow. It's Ben Wishaw's in it. It's a really good cast. Anyway, he's like a big Shakespearean actor, but he again understated compared to what he could have done in this. He could have been this brooding, boss, but like he
did was amazing.
He did it with this point of view.
Like, that's the thing. I can't floor a single performance in this.
All right, so do you want to go? You want to carry it all the way to the end?
Zoey Deutch was really great. Yeah, I was surprised. And then, oh my God. Wait, let's go to the end really quick. How good was just the moment
where he snapped?
Where Mark Rylance says, because you're the rat.
Oh, yeah.
You could do that line reading in your bedroom 5,000 times, and you're not going to do it as well as Mark Rylance does it there. He goes, well, you can't kill her. Why not? Because she's the rat, or you, whatever it was. Is like, what? And the way he says it is brilliant. It's like, what a choice.
Yeah,
anyway. I don't know if you guys
saw. You're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well, I thought it was Mark, but I didn't realize that he was covering for the rat, which is, I love those kind of layers.
Dave, what was the moment? The thing I said I want to come back to, your favorite. No, not the visual effects.
There were a couple of gasps. There were a couple where, like, when he said she's the rat, there were audible gasps. When it's all come to an end and he set fire to the place and the guy fucking stands up behind him and you realize it's not over, like half the theater went, it was amazing. I've never seen a reaction like it.
Cool, because that should have been really silly.
Did you guys see?
Silly, but that was cool.
I don't know if you guys saw the movie.
Because he was shot a lot of times. Yeah, I was thinking of The Drop. I meant to mention that earlier with Gandolfini and
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah.
And then it, so the whole time, and then it just it turned on a dime again because you got this insight into what he'd been holding back this whole time.
Yeah, I was kind of anticipating that, like, Mark Rylance is probably got more than just this.
Yeah, by that point, you kind of knew, okay, this guy's not what he's.
I think my favorite. I think my favorite moment in so far. I know this isn't like technically part of the last year's films, but one of my favorite moments I've had in the theater recently is when Mark Rylance rolls up his sleeves at the end of this film.
Oh yeah,
when he was like, They said I had a gift. Or there was like, I said,
he's dressed immaculately the whole way through this. And then all of a sudden he rolls up his sleeves and you see those tattoos and you're like, oh, well, that guy's fucked.
Yeah. So just like The Drop, I had a feeling this whole thing would maybe building to the fact that this guy is actually capable of killing everyone in the room. He's just choosing not to. And that was fun, though. It was earned. Again, it's all stylized. It's a little campy in the sense that they know what kind of story we're telling.
Very snappy. But it's still fun. It was very well revealed in pieces. It kept you hanging on for the next piece of the story, and I feel like that's some masterful direction right there.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I loved the French, the La Fontaines. Was that? The gang. I thought it was a real fun. I hate to say it, but a little surprised that a woman walks in as the head of this gang, and her crew have been running numbers there in that area of Chicago for her whole life. And I don't know, I thought that was fun, a fun way to sneak in something that was maybe surprising with casting.
Yeah.
2 women in the room when the real showdown goes down, still tons of power being passed around. I thought it was all kind of refreshing in the sense that we've seen and heard many stories like this before, but I don't know, in the past maybe quarter century or so, we've gotten to see it subverted this way.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. They wanted you to know that they knew what they were doing.
And I feel like that's what I was communicating earlier. Like, this is something special. This is definitely something special. Man. Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it.
Guys,
we did it.
We did it. Minimal buzzers.
Let's raise, film fans. Let's turn that 1.5 million into 1.5 and some change, so that they can
based on our viewership. Let's turn it to like 1.505.
Let's get in there and let's
mention as many keywords as we can to get this out as much as possible, because like everyone would enjoy this film. There is no one that I could think of that wouldn't enjoy this film.
How great is the reason that you find out more about the voiceover?
Oh my god,
it's so good.
I love that. Good. Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts. And
he gives. What did you think? You were like, he's gonna give her all the money. He's gonna give her all of it, right? He's not even gonna take like a little. He's not even gonna take a wad. He's gonna give her all of it. He gave her.
He just needs his shoes, bro. And just like all good like craft movies, like it really made me like kind of fall in love with craft. Like I was a real sucker. Every time he was doing anything with his craft, I was like, oh god, I love that people care about things so much. It just pulled me right in there, and really, really lovely. Anyway, good times.
Oh, and then there's the blood on the coat. And everybody in my theater went, oh, when they saw the blood on the coat, and they knew that he had to like do it over again.
That's the thing. You get these actual vocal, visceral reactions out of an audience. That doesn't happen often.
We're just so used to seeing movies where these kinds of things we shit on.
Oh, sorry, spoiler. Yeah.
All right, people. We could talk about this forever, but go see it. But you've already seen it. Thanks for sticking with us after. Thanks for coming
back. Thanks for coming back and listening to the rest of this episode after you've seen this movie.
That's right. Thank you. All right, people. Well, this is that time of the episode where we wind it down by telling you what we've been watching with a quick round of what you've been watching. Dave.
Oh, I finally saw Scream 2022.
Oh, nice.
Shit, I've heard it's fun. Yeah,
Scream. I have some friends who are in the horror industry who just hated it. I had so much fun with this. It's so good. I haven't heard
anyone hated it.
No, I've had one or two. I've had one or two people in my friend circle go, "This was a piece of shit." But that's
for your friend.
Yeah. Should we put it on our list?
Let's do it, dude.
I would definitely give this a look. It is so much fun. It calls back to the original so much. It's very meta. It takes the piss out of itself, like the original.
We didn't even consider Scream for the franchise face-off, and sounds like we made a huge mistake.
You're right.
They have like 5
I mean, there's always a horror franchise face-off we can do.
Jesus,
they've got a million of them.
Is that all you watched, too? Is that all you saw?
I also, on HBO Max, I checked out the first episode of DMZ. It's a new series they just brought out. America has had America has had another civil war, and Manhattan is the DMZ.
Oh
shit!
And it's a woman who lost her son when they were trying to escape, and she's gone back in trying to find him, and she's a medic, and it's kind of some of the shots put me off at first, but the end twist got me. I'm in.
Is the DMZ then like the
pilot?
Is it the pilot got me? Yeah, I'm in.
Is the DMZ like the Hudson River?
Pretty much. Yeah. Now the border keeps stuck with
New Jersey.
The border keeps changing. Apparently.
New Jersey's the promised land in this
Jesus,
we have tomatoes.
They've hit rock bottom.
We have tomatoes and oil refineries and swamps. They're all yours.
Nice, dude. I'm late to the party, but I know season 2 is out now. I finally caught up and watched Ted Lasso, and very enjoyable. Really good.
Nice. God, I want to watch this so bad.
And I watched a little movie called Coda, which I think you guys really, really loved from the podcast.
I've heard about it.
I don't think I've ever heard you guys talk that positively about
what's your review
in a while.
How do you come down on it? Tonight.
No, I thought it was wonderful. I was very. I wasn't surprised, but you guys loved that movie. I mean, the joy was there. I could hear it in your voices. Now, you also watched it together, and it sounds like you got really toasty and maybe Jeff cried. Did. Maybe cried next to each other on the couch, which is really
almost
touching.
threw up that night thanks to the beers that Dave gave me. But
yes.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Everybody should watch that. Apple TV Plus. How about you, Jeff?
I've seen a lot because I didn't see you last week. I was in Indiana on the night you were recording.
Right.
I've seen a lot. I love Winning Time right now, and I'm a
dude. Thank you. I'm caught up too. Love it, dude. I'm enjoying it.
I watched the 3rd episode last night, and it's never what I'm expected. And I'm going to say this because I know that Will Ferrell really wanted to be Jerry Buss, who's being played by John C. Reilly. It was originally supposed to be Willem Dafoe, and he had to back out for whatever reason. So Adam McKay cast John C. Reilly, and apparently it pissed Will Ferrell off and whatever. But John C. Reilly is so good.
Yeah, he's perfect
What's
for
this
that.
called?
It's called Winning
Winning
Time,
Time.
and it's about
It's actually kind of a joke. It's because HBO didn't want to call it Showtime.
Oh,
That's
God.
the name of the book.
But it's about the LA Lakers dynasty in the 80s.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like
yeah,
they
yeah,
called
yeah.
them, it's called Showtime. It was called the Showtime Dynasty, but they
Showtime
literally
Lakers.
just decided not to
Well,
call it that. So it's called Winning Time, which is kind of strange, but get on board.
Yeah, it's based on a book. I watched all of The Last Kingdom. I downloaded them on my iPad and watched them. The first season. I don't know if I'll go to any of the other seasons, but that was really fun. It's like Vikings and Game of Thrones-y, that kind of world. I watched... I'm watching Pam and Tommy now, and I really like that too. Every episode's a different journey and adventure, but I think it's cool. It's so 90s. I love how fucking 90s the show is. I don't know if anybody's watching it, but everybody's like, he talks to his dick. I was like, yeah, that's one scene, but I love how he's the drummer. He's the drummer for the drummer for Motley Crue, and they're just playing like Love me, say that you love me, need me, love, whatever that song is called.
Loveful.
Like they're playing like Loveful. They're playing like the weird 90s songs. Like Third Eye Blind is in this episode I just watched and stuff. I love that. And then I watched Death on the Nile.
Oh my
Chloe
God.
actually wanted to go to the movies.
Another whodunit.
And we watched The Wizard of Oz and Robin Hood.
Which
So
Robin
I watched
Hood?
a lot. The Disney one. We watched the Disney one.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it.
As in the original animated?
Yeah. So my recommendations of the week, though, will
Little
be
story for you.
Pam and Tommy, and I like Death on the Nile. I did, but Pam and Tommy and Winning Time.
Nah,
for sure.
fuck it. I'm putting them all in.
Okay.
I got Robin Hood on video cassette because I was too scared to do the fire safety training. Jeff, do you remember this in the 90s where you had to go inside this little trailer? Like it would drive around towns and like learn how to like crawl out of like bedrooms and stuff. It was like a fire safety cart.
Because
And I was fucking terrified. And I got that. I was like, if I do
my
this.
fire safety was not run by somebody who was in the
think
Boy
so
Scouts
lucky.
and went to prison.
At least you didn't have the duck and cover trailer.
The duck.
Wow, Dave, that's before you, dude. Duck and fucking cover.
So anyway, you had this tape because you watched it while this guy watched you crawling around his van.
That was my reward. That was my reward for doing that thing I was really scared of. I was terrified.
Okay.
All right.
It's a really good movie. I kind of had the I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had the hots for The Fox Made Marion. I was attracted to that fox.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like no doubt.
Oh,
I was
Made
attracted
Marion.
to that fox.
All right, Dave's got to go to bed, people. We got to wrap this up. We're gushing. Go see The Outfit if you haven't already seen it, and we spoiled it for you.
Absolutely go see it.
That's it. See you next week, film fans. Have fun at the Oscars this weekend.